Good morning, second graders. Today is Friday, May 29th, and we have just made it to the end of our 9th week of distance learning. And guess what? There's only 3 more days left of school. And then you're going to be third graders. Wow, I cannot believe it. Time has gone so quickly. Next week, I will be having 3 more videos though, because school's not over till June 3rd. So next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, be sure to still watch my videos each day, all right? There are 2 things that I want to talk to you about, 2 important events that are coming up that I'm sure your parents probably already know about, but I'm going to tell you about on my video so that you know as well. The first one is on Monday, June 1st, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. We're going to have a parade where the Nevlin staff walks around the Nevlin neighborhoods, and you can sit out on your front lawns and wave to us and shout at us, or you can come and sit at Nevlin by the grassy area by the playground. You can do that if you choose. So that will be on Monday. So that will be a nice way to see each other on that day. The second event is called Drive-By Goodbyes, and that's going to be on the last day of school, June 3rd, from 10 in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's where you can come with your mom or dad in your cars, and you can drive by Nevlin, and all of the teachers and staff will be sitting in lawn chairs, spaced out, and you can come up and get some of the things that we have for you. So we might have your report card or other materials at the end of the year that we would like to pass out to you. So we won't be able to give each other hugs like we would normally get to do on the last day, but we can give each other air hugs and wave at each other and smile at each other and at least get one last chance to say goodbye before the summer. Okay, so that's Wednesday, June 3rd from 10 to 1. So I hope you can come on out so that we can see each other one more time before you're officially those big third graders. All right, let's get started today. Our matrix tells us for Friday the 29th that we are going to read a science spin. So I would like for you to grab this out of your folder. It looks like this. It's the very last one. We've done all of the rest of them. So this is the only one that's left. It's called Messy Eater. So grab that out of your folder. If you need to pause the video and go get it, please do that. We're actually going to read it together today. But before we start reading, we're going to preview it just like we always do. So this is the title, Messy Eater. And the blurb says, look at this little animal. Isn't he adorable? The blurb says, this is a kinkajou. It lives in the rainforest. When it eats fruit, it makes a mess. That's good for the forest. So this is called a kinkajou. As a good reader, I have a question. Because remember, all good readers ask questions as they read. So I have a question right away after reading this blurb. My question is, how would being messy be good for the forest? And that's what we're going to find out. So go ahead, grab this. I want you to read it with me. And I'm going to try to read it in front of the camera like I did last week. So we'll try that. That went okay, didn't it? But I remembered that it was easiest if I folded it back. That worked better, didn't it? All right, so here we go. Here's your title. This messy eater drops seeds. Okay, and then you know that these green titles are called subheadings. Remember our nonfiction text features. And then I see a bold-faced word right here called habitat. I bet you know what a habitat is, don't you? And over here, was there another one? Yep, devours. And so we're going to find out what that one means. And here's some more subheadings. And we have our picture captions, just like we always do. And then over here, look, a sidebar. So we'll read that too as well. All right, so here we go. And we're going to answer the question, how does messy help the forest? All right. When you make a mess with your food, do people tell you to stop? No one stops the kinkajou. That's a good thing. Its messiness helps plants grow. So I hope you have your science spin right now, and I'd like for you to be following along while I read it, and maybe you even want to read while I read. The next subheading says, seeds need to travel. The kinkajou lives in the rainforest. This rainforest is a wet, warm habitat with an amazing variety of plants and animals. Remember, a habitat is where somebody lives or where the animal lives. It has hundreds of kinds of fruit trees, and their fruit is full of seeds. This kind of reminds me of something. I'm making a text to self connection. How many of you remember when we went to the nature center way back at the beginning of the year and we talked about seeds and how they travel? So this kind of reminds me of that. Those seeds can grow into new trees, but they need to find a new place with plenty of room to grow. That's where the kinkajou's messy eating comes in handy. On the next subheading, snack attack. I'm going to kind of read it over here because I'm not really showing you very well in the camera, am I? All right, here we go. A kinkajou is sleeping in a hole in a tree. It wakes up. It has a snack attack. It wants fruit and lots of it. It jumps from branch to branch, searching for fruit. And I'm right here. When it finds a juicy fruit like a fig or a papaya, it's ready to eat. It travels to a branch of a nearby tree to enjoy its snack alone. Then it tears the fruit open and eats fast. The seeds fall on the ground. Here, the seeds have what they need to grow into new trees. Sometimes the kinkajou does something even messier. It eats, now we're going to turn the page, or I'm going to turn the page, you're just going to go to the next page. It eats upside down. That's interesting, isn't it? Kind of like a bat that eats upside down. It wraps its tail around a branch and hangs there as it devours a piece of fruit. So what do you think devours means? Hopefully you know that means it eats it. Dropping the seeds. It's worse than a messy baby in a high chair. Oh, so when it's messy and the seeds all drop to the ground, what does that mean? How does that help the forest? Seeds spread other ways. Of course, not all of the seeds end up on the ground. The kinkajou swallows some. This helps the rainforest too. Now that's interesting. How would swallowing a seed help the rainforest? That's another question that I have. Imagine the kinkajou eats a fig from a fig tree. The fig and some of its seeds move through the kinkajou's body. Uh-oh, can you predict how it's going to help? If it moves through the body, what's going to happen? I think you know. By the time the kinkajou poops, it has traveled very far from the fig tree. Is that what you were going to say? Well, we had to have a science spin about pooping before the end of the year, didn't we? The seeds in its poop fall to the ground and sink in. Warm rains will water the seeds. A new fig tree can grow far from the first fig tree. That's another way the kinkajou helps more rainforest trees grow. A big player. The kinkajou is very important to the rainforest. Scientists call it a keystone species. That means that many living creatures depend on it. Okay, so did you see what they just did? They had their bold-faced word, and then they told you in the next sentence what it meant. So a keystone species means that many living creatures depend on it. Without the kinkajou's messy snack attack, the rainforest would have fewer trees. Thanks, kinkajou. Keep up your messy ways. Aha, so that answered our question, didn't it? When the kinkajou is so messy and the seeds drop all over, then the seeds turn into new trees, and that's how it helps the rainforest. All right, let's look down here. Well, first of all, let's look at our sidebar. And it says, seeds in a sweet package. The kinkajou eats these fruits. Do you see the seeds? So here's in the fig. Do you see the seed? And the papaya. Do you see the seeds? The figs are kind of hard to see. You got to look at yours really close up. The papaya has seeds in there. And here's called a passion fruit. You can see the seeds in there. Then it says, think like a scientist. Fruit is sweet. How does that help its seeds get spread by animals? Hint, remember that animals, like many kids, enjoy sweet things. So how does that help, that hint help you know how that helps? Now let's face it, okay? If you had the choice between a cookie or a celery stick to eat, which one would you probably pick? I know I'd pick the cookie. So I think that's how it helps, because animals like sweet things too, which is why they always go for the fruit. And that's how the seeds drop. And voila, more trees grow. All right, and on the back, we have a chart. It's called Seed Spreaders. So it says, read the chart showing how other animals spread seeds and then answer the questions. So were some of those ways like the ways we talked about at the Nature Center? Maybe. We talked about some of those same things at the Nature Center on how seeds can spread, didn't we? All right, so you're going to read the chart, and then you're going to answer the questions, and then Mrs. Lunning put an activity for you on Seesaw where you need to reread the science spin, and then go ahead and answer the questions, and go ahead and record yourself reading the question with the answer, and that's on Seesaw today. So that's your reading assignment. And also, because that's all you're doing today for reading, I would like for you to make sure that you complete your memory book. Okay, so your memory book, you know what that looks like, and we've done all of the pages in it by now. So you should have all of your pages done. So this one, you should have colored all those 4 pictures. And I have loved seeing your memory book pages on Seesaw. My goodness, it's so fun for me to get to read what you write. I love that. Keep doing it. All about, you should have colored here, and I told you where to color on my video. Color around the outsides of the shapes with crayons, because that makes it pretty. And then you should have completed my favorites page, okay? And you should have completed more about me. That was a page that we just did a couple days ago, I think. And then we did this with Ruby the Copycat. I am unique, okay? So there's that one. And then the very last one was a poem. And so I would love it if you would read this poem and put that on Facebook. On Facebook, oh my gosh, on Seesaw. No, not Facebook, Seesaw. So read that, because that's really something from me to you. And I really think that that's a perfect poem for me to give to you. So go ahead and make sure that your memory book is all finished as well. And then get your math packet and a pencil. And guess what? We're going to do our math all together. So we're going to get it all done today because it's Friday. So go grab that and we'll get going on math. All right, before we do our lesson for today, we're going to go over the answers from yesterday on the first part of our review. So number 1, you should have had minute. Number 2, the shorthand is the hour hand. Number 3, 15 minutes is a quarter hour. Remember, there's 4 quarter hours in 1 whole hour. Number 4, 30 minutes is a half hour, and there's 2 half hours in an hour. Number 5, a clock that uses hands to show the time is an analog clock. Number 6, a clock that uses numbers to show the time is a digital clock. So remember, hands are analog, numbers are digital. Number 7, the hours from noon until midnight are PM, and the hours from midnight until noon are AM. They kind of mixed that around, didn't they? They did it on purpose to see if you were reading carefully. All right, number 9 and 10 and 11, these are your answers. 5:45, 4:10, and 6:40. And in the middle, that's what it should have looked like with your hands on the clock. Now when I tell time, I tell the hour first and then the minutes. But when I write the hands on the clock, I draw the minute hand first and then the hour. I don't know why, I just do it like that. I think it's because the minute hand, you got to count by 5 and it's more precise. All right, at the bottom, you're going to circle AM or PM. So walking the dog would be 11:45 in the morning. I don't think you'd do that at 11:45 at night, PM, because that would be quarter to midnight. That wouldn't make sense, would it? So AM. Go hiking, PM, 2:30 PM. And washing the dinner dishes, 6:30 PM. So hopefully you got all of those right. So today, I hope you have your pencil. We are going to do this all together. And that'll wrap it all up since it's a Friday. I thought you'd like that. All right, number 18. On a clock, the hour hand is between the 2 and the 3. The minute hand is on the 5. What time is it? All right, let's follow those directions. If the minute hand or the hour hand is between the 2 and the 3, remember the hour hand's the short one, so there it is, between the 2 and the 3. The minute hand is on the 5. So So I'm going to draw through the number, and there's the 5. And what time does that show? Between the 2 and the 3, you're going to pick the earlier number, so 2. And on the 5, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 2:25. Number 19, a brain builder. The time is 9 o'clock a.m. In 6 hours and 5 minutes, Greg will leave school. What time will it be? Okay, now I don't have my clock over here, or otherwise I would have done it for you on the clock. So instead, we'll just count. So 9 o'clock it starts. We got to count 6 hours. So 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So that's 6 hours, plus we need 5 minutes. So it's going to be 3:05. 3:05. And now will that be AM or PM? We started in the morning, but look, it went all the way around to 10, and then 11, and then 12. Ooh, what happens at noon? It turns to PM. So it would be 3:05 PM. All right, number 20. Derek has basketball practice at 2:30. Luke has practice 2¼ hours later. Show the times on the clocks. Write the time and circle AM or PM. So if Derek, it tells us Derek's is at 2:30, so let's draw that. When we're drawing the hands, I always do the minute, and we know 30 is on the 6. And 2:30, that's between the 2 and the 3. We just did that one up above, didn't we? Kind of. Now, do you think that that would be AM or PM? And hopefully you know that would be PM, because I don't think we'd have practice while we're in bed sleeping at 2:30 in the morning, would we? And then Luke, it says, has practice 2¼ hours later. So 2 hours after 2:30 would be 3:30, 4:30, okay, plus a quarter. Okay, so if we were at 4:30, I'm just going to show you like this, and then I'll erase. If this was 4:30, okay, that would be 2 hours later, right? But it's technically 2¼ So from here to here, remember our quarter hours, 15 minutes? So we'd have to really move it to 1/4, like that. So it would really be 4:45. That was kind of a hard one, wasn't it? And that would also be PM, right? Because you wouldn't have practice at 4:45 in the morning. And the last one, the boat picked up passengers every half hour. If the first boat arrives at 8 o'clock a.m., when will the fourth boat arrive? So we're going to do 8, and then the second boat, the third boat, and the fourth boat. We're going to draw a picture because that lots of times helps us solve a problem. So here's 8, and it said every half hour. So that's 30 minutes, isn't it? So the next half hour after 8, if the clock moved all the way to 8:30, and then the next half hour, it would be at the clock would be down at the 6, it would move up to the 12, so that would turn into 9 o'clock. And now your minute hand would be at the 12, and it would move all the way down to the 6, and it would be 9:30. I should have had my clock to help you out with this, shouldn't I? But that's okay, I think you get it. All right? So 9:30 is the answer for number 21. And on the back, we have 4 more problems. It says, draw the hands to show the time. On the digital clock, it says 4 o'clock. So on the analog clock, we'd have to show 4 o'clock. And hopefully by now you know that 00 is o'clock, and that goes to the 12. And then 4, the hour hand would point to the 4. And this one, write the time. So you see that the minute hand is on the 6, right? The hour hand's between the 10 and the 11. So look at the hour hand first. You always pick the earlier number, which is 10. And then if you don't know what this is, you got to count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I bet you already knew that because you should know by now that the 6 means 30, and that's half past 10. And the third one, skip count by 5s and tell the time. Oh, look. All right, first of all, the hour hand's between the 9 and the 10, so we picked the earlier one, which is 9. And then we're going to skip count by 5s till we get to the 7. So start at the 12 and count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So it's 35 minutes past 9 or 9:35. And the last one, draw the hands and write the time. 5:15 and 5:30. And hopefully you remember that 5:15 means 15. And that's on the 3. So we should have 5 o'clock here. And 5:15 is on the 3. 5, 10, 15. Quarter after or quarter past. And the last one, 5:30. And hopefully you know 5:30 means 30. So here's your 5. You're going to drop between the 5 and the 6 because it's already halfway to the next hour. And there's your minute hand. So here is 5:15 and here it's 5:30. All right, so how do I use and tell time was our essential question. So we did all kinds of things. We learned about digital clocks and analog clocks. We learned about o'clock, right? 00, and on the 12 is o'clock. We learned about 5:30 the hour and 10:30 were the minute hands on the 6. We learned how to tell time to the 5 minute. So we had to skip count by 5s to get to the 5 minute. We also learned that when it's after the 6 and beyond, our hour hand is in the middle and we picked the earlier one, right? And then we also learned about 5:15, quarter after, and 2:45. And that would be if quarter after is when the minute hand's on the 3. And if it was 2:45 something, our minute hand would be on the 9. And then 5:30, we already talked about. All right, so hopefully you learned a lot in this Telling Time chapter. And now we're done with this chapter. We finished it all up. And next week we won't have any learning in math. So you are done with math for the year. Good job. All right, and we will see you on Monday at my video and hopefully at the parade. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, second grade, and I will be back with you again on Monday. Goodbye.